All right, welcome back to SuperTalk Mississippi. I'm Mandy Gunasekara, today's guest host for the Paul Gallo Show, and I'm here live from the Oxford Conference Center. It is the first annual Women's Summit hosted by our very own Attorney General Lynn Fitch. She was here earlier, and she is bringing together leaders, future leaders of our great state, and I'm very excited to be joined by two very important and powerful women across the state. You, dear listeners, reap the benefits of their hard work every time you turn on the radio on SuperTalk. I am joined by Kim Dillon, the president and CEO of SuperTalk Mississippi, and Ashley Fortenberry, our COO and the General Counsel. Thank y'all so much for joining us on this side of the programming this morning. Welcome, yes. Welcome.
Thank
you. And it's been interesting too. While we've been sitting here, there's been a lot of folks that have come up and said they're fans of Super Talk. They turn it on every morning or midday, or they listen to the sports or Rebecca Turner. They always want to hear about the good things going on in the state, and there's always a lot of good things to talk about. But it really is such an important it's an important service to the state to have a station and a network like SuperTalk. Kim, could you talk a little bit about how did you get involved in the radio business, and then how has it been operating SuperTalk, something that really people wake up to, and it's one of the first things that they cut on to figure out what's going on in the day?
Well, interesting. This is my 20th year.
Oh, wow.
At SuperTalk Mississippi Media, and I came from the public sector. Worked a lot with SuperTalk at that time.
Uh-huh.
And so just got, it's like I want to do something fun. So I started thinking about it and talking with different people, and decided to come to work at SuperTalk. But yeah, the SuperTalk Media is a very interesting network. It's not just radio.
Yeah.
We do have 12 radio markets across the state, and we actually have more music stations than we do talk stations.
Okay.
We have 12 talk stations, and then we have 16 music stations. Along with the SuperTalk Network, we have the News Network,
mm-hmm.
which is made up of 45-plus radio stations across the state.
Yeah.
We have the Ag Network. So it's very, very diverse. We have the Garden Mama. We have Steve Azar with the entertainment.
Yeah.
We do a lot of sports, as you know.
It's a big deal.
So it is. We have something for everyone. And I will say, Mandy, that SuperTalk Mississippi Media is one of a kind in the United States.
Yeah.
And we're very proud of it.
It's. I know that. I think I was spoiled coming from Mississippi and then going working in D.C. and doing media with a lot of different radio stations and organizations. But I'll tell you this: I was actually talking with, some of the media gurus in D.C. And anytime I say I'm in Mississippi, if I mention doing Super Talk, at some point they work with y'all or they work with one of the hosts, and it is always positive. They recognize it is a well-run professional organization with really great hosts that cater to the interests and the needs of the state. So I hear that. I hear that all the time. So I'll just say, job well done.
Thank you.
Because it makes us all look good and keeps us either entertained or informed. And,
I appreciate that.
Yes. All right, Ashley, let's turn to you really quick. All right, you're the COO and the General Counsel, two hugely important roles in running something like this. Just talk a little bit about what is your day-to-day like on that side of the networks.
I can't wait for this answer.
Okay, all right. I promise we didn't coordinate. Okay.
Well, one thing, when I decided, I was in private practice for 13 years before coming to SuperTalk, and it was a huge decision for me to leave private practice. And when I was considering coming to SuperTalk, Steve said, Ashley, there's one thing that I can promise you here. And he said, you will never have 2 days the same. And I always joke with Steve and Kim and say, y'all have over-delivered on that promise.
Uh-huh.
Because in my role, I literally do not know when I walk in the door what kind of issues we face with all of the changing landscape and laws, and you've got on that front. I also run operations, so we never know from day to day what we may have going on in one of our locations that we have to deal with, what we have personnel-wise that we deal with. We also have, as Kim said, there's so many facets, I think, to our business that people don't realize. We have a whole digital arm, so we're dealing with things on the digital front and digital sales, and we're dealing with sales throughout the state, and it literally is one thing that I always tell people that I absolutely love about this job is day to day it's challenging, but it's also so varied, and I love that aspect of this job, and I love that aspect about our company is that we do so much, and I think what makes us unique, and that I think a lot of people don't know, is that SuperTalk Mississippi Media is very female heavy. We have a female CEO and president. We have a female CFO. I'm a female. And so I think sometimes when people think about SuperTalk Mississippi, they may not realize that. You know, Alex, our content director, she's female. Our social media director is female. We have lots of general managers that are female, and they, in their local markets, they're such a driving force of our content, which is a big priority of SuperTalk, is to keep things really hyper-local and be able to feature things on a local level that other groups may not be able to do the way that we can.
Yeah, it really is. It's wonderful to see, and keeping the business of SuperTalk, the trains running on time and everything going the way that it should be and the way that people expect it to be. I will say this, we're here at the Women's Summit. There's a lot of featured speakers. Kim, I want to know what featured speaker you're looking forward to hearing here in a little bit, or some of the panels. But before I do that, Ashley, you're speaking on a panel. Could you say what time for anyone who may be interested in coming by and what you're going to be talking about?
Yeah, I'm going to be on the Getting Down to Business panel. It'll feature women in business and business leaders, and that panel is at 11 o'clock.
Okay.
And what we will really be covering is just how basically different industries, how women fit in those industries, also just how to guide young women on getting into business, becoming a business leader. And so we'll cover a varied topic. We've got people from the medical field, we've got business owners, we've got me and media. So you've got a variety of women that'll come on this panel and be talking about different aspects.
That's really great, and we're here in Oxford, Mississippi, home of the University of Mississippi, a college town. We've got great college towns all across this state, but, as freshmen are coming in, this event isn't necessarily catering to the students. It's a lot of working professionals, but, a question that they often have is how do I get started? Where I'm interested in pursuing a medical career or starting a business. How do I get started? So, what's just some general advice at getting started?
Well, I think one thing is figure out as much as you can what you're interested in, but then also understand that once you enter your career, sometimes it takes some twists and turns you don't expect.
Yeah.
And be open to that, and be open to new opportunities. I look at this opportunity that I took. It was a little bit of a risk, but sometimes when something presents yourself, you just have to take the leap and say, you know what, this is different, and it's not what I had in my mind when I thought I went to law school and was going to be a big firm lawyer, and then just jumped out. And so I tell people, when you're starting out, try to find what you're interested in, but most importantly, just be open to the things that get presented to you as your career unfolds, because sometimes there's a little curve and bumps in the road, but a lot of times they can end up being wonderful opportunities. And so that would be my advice. And also the other thing is build relationships with people throughout your career. And even as a young person, I look at throughout my life, so many times those relationships ended up offering and turning into career opportunities and career experiences. And so that's one thing, I would encourage young people to do, is always maintain and build those relationships.
Well, that's such amazing advice. I really think it is. And Kim, you're here. You've been living it. You are running this major network. You've been an impactful woman. Probably had many turns and twists along the way. But you're here today. So what is it that you're looking forward to as far as either the panelists or the speakers or the various vending events?
I think just being here with other women and women leaders.
Yeah.
I am looking forward to, of course, listening to Ashley.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Number one.
Yeah.
But I look forward to listening to Sarah Thomas. I was an athlete myself, and I really respect her and what she's been able to do for women in the sport.
Yeah.
I think she's an amazing woman. We've had her on several times on the network, and she's always one of our favorite guests.
Yeah.
Everyone always wants to have her back and have, listen to what she has to say. So I would say maybe her first.
Yeah, well, I'm excited to hear her speak as well. Also on the female athlete, you've got Paula Scanlon, who's going to be speaking as well. So just a really great gathering. Thank y'all so much for coming on this side of the equation. I think it's great for the listeners to hear y'all, to see y'all, and to know what you do, really, to keep this great network going, not just for the radio listeners, but also for the women of the state. Y'all have been great examples and role models in a ton of ways. So thank you so much. We've got to take a really quick break, but for our listeners, stay tuned. We've got more on the Paul Gallo Show here on Super Talk Mississippi.
Thank you.